In many Christian churches around the world, this Sunday is called Palm Sunday. On this day, many people all around the world remember the beginning of Jesus of Nazareth's journey through Jerusalem. He preached and walked from town to town, speaking openly about a new Jerusalem. Later, Jesus' followers referred to their identity as the New Jerusalem movement. The word Christianity would come later. The followers were initially a movement to reform Judaism. Therefore, the focus of Jesus' ministry was centered on the spiritual temple in Jerusalem. When he arrived in Jerusalem, he was greeted by crowds of people who had heard of his teaching. They were excited that he was coming into the city. They hoped that he would be a great king and that he would rid them of the dreaded Herodian dynasty and the Roman Empire. When he entered the city riding a mule, people put branches of palm trees on the ground in front of Jesus as a way of honoring him. This was what they did in those days for returning victorious warriors. Jesus was viewed as a Messiah, someone who would liberate Israel. And many of the more traditionally Christian churches today, people will be given palm fronds in commemoration of this time in the week leading to Easter Sunday. Jesus was courageous. He knew that he had to go to Jerusalem, and he knew that he would probably be killed there. Yet Jesus still went. What gave him the ability to go to Jerusalem? Spiritual courage, faithful courage. Today we're going to think about ways that we can find courage. Most of us will probably never be in a place where things are as scary as they were for Jesus. But it still helps to think about ways to find courage when you're scared or sad. Sometimes when I'm afraid or nervous, I will sing a song. I like to sing hymns, so sometimes when I'm afraid, I'll sing a song that I learned in church. One of the reasons that I like to sing the songs, the hymns that I learned in the church, is that their sounds and the words are comforting, but also remind me of the times that I felt safe with people I knew. Almost 110 years ago, people fought the tragic, horrible First World War. During that war in Europe, men fought in trenches. Trenches were basically deep furrows in the ground. Men lived and worked underground, and they usually came up from that position only to fight. Millions of people died in that war. It was very sad and a frightening time. One of the soldiers who fought in the war was named Robert Graves. And after the war, he wrote about what it was like to have been fighting then. He became known as a famous author later in life. He is most famous nowadays for writing the novel that was made into a television series, I, Claudius. Robert Graves wrote that when he and other Welshmen heard bombs bursting overhead and bullets flying past them, that they would sing songs or hymns to calm their nerves. The country of Wales is famous for choirs and singing, so those songs came naturally to them. The people of Wales have also written beautiful songs that have helped them through difficult times. Welsh miners were famous for singing in the mines. Like those Welsh soldiers, we can find songs that can help calm us and give us courage. Sometimes they can be songs that remind us of quiet times in our lives with those whom we love. Sometimes remembering that you are loved can help give you courage, like nothing else can. So we can hum or sing a song that reminds us of good times and reminds us of the calm place, and that brings courage. I served a congregation in New Hampshire that was at the top of a hill. It was a classic white clapboard New England meeting house with a steeple pointed upward, speeding prayers to heaven. One slightly snowy winter's day, I came out of the meeting house and drove down the hill toward Route 101, the highway. I had not thought this out very carefully. Sometimes I've told you about times when I've not thought things out very carefully. The snow had accumulated on the road, and the road was steep and serpentine. It swerved. At every turn in the road was a large granite boulder. I was terrified. In my fear, I sang a hymn that gave me courage. It's an old one, written by Isaac Watts, who some consider a Unitarian. Let us now stand as we are willing and able and sing, O God, our help in ages past. It helped me when I was going down the hill, so maybe it'll help you. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. Before the hills in order stood, or earth received its frame, from everlasting thou art God, to endless years the same. 1,000 ages in thy sight are like an evening gone, short as the watch that ends the night before the rising sun. Time like an ever-rolling stream soon bears us all away. We fly forgotten as a tree dies at the opening day. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Be thou our guard when troubles last, and our eternal home. Another way to find courage is to enter that space of meditation. And now it is my great joy to have Georgine lead us into a Buddhist meditation.
Hi. I thought about what kind of meditation we're going to do, and I'm really going to just guide you in a silent meditation. What I mean by guide is to start it off for you. But I wanted to explain some things first. There are all kinds of meditations. So some are guided, some are specific things that you're going to be thinking about during the meditation, and some are silent, as we did earlier. However, I'm going to give you some ideas, and this is also going to be a little bit longer silent meditation. In Buddhism, one of the tenets, one of the things that is very important in Buddhism is the idea of that all lives have suffering. You're always going to have, no matter how wonderful your life is, you're going to have some losses somewhere along the line. And you may have some suffering from that. One of the ways to handle suffering is to stay in the present moment as much as possible. Because a lot of suffering is magnified when we're worried about the future, or we're thinking about what has happened in the past that perhaps hurt us, has us upset. So being able to bring yourself back into the present can be very helpful in handling any kind of negative feelings, any kind of suffering, any kind of fears that you're going through. So I want everyone to first of all, take a deep breath. And so I'm going to do this with you. And just picture your lungs like balloons. And you're going to just fill them up until they're completely filled. So deep breath. When they're filled, just hold for 1 second. And then leave the air out like air out of a balloon till they're completely empty. That will help settle you. And now, when we're going to do this meditation, I'm going to ring the bell to start it. It's going to be 3 minutes, and I'll ring the bell at the end. But I'd like you to think about either your natural breath, just follow it. Don't try to do anything with it, either just follow it. Or you can think about how if we hold our breath, we ultimately lose our breath. Or you can think about your sensations in your body. Or you can think about something that's already been talked about, in the sermon today. Perhaps what we said to the doll. Whatever's meaningful for you, try to keep that in your mind. Your mind will wander, definitely. Just gently bring it back to what you were concentrating on before. I'll be ringing the bell when we're done also. Come back now.
Thank you, Georgine. One of the ways that Jesus found courage is also a way that we can find courage. It's called prayer. Prayer is just talking to God or the universe about what is going on in your life and what you would like to have or to be. People all over the world in many different kinds of faith, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, and many others pray. They pray in different ways. Muslims pray on their knees with their foreheads to the ground. Some Buddhists pray by spinning wheels and sending their prayers into the circling earth and sky. Some people pray by dancing or whirling, spinning in place like the Sufis do. Most of us presume that prayer means believing God or goddess or deities. While most dictionaries will give you that kind of definition, we're Unitarian Universalists. We don't have to follow that dictionary definition. I have learned that some people, especially Unitarian Universalists, pray in ways that are not generally found in dictionaries or scholarly texts. I remember meeting a woman when I was first had become a Unitarian Universalist who said that as a child she could not find strength in praying to God. She felt like God was too big, too male, too scary. So she prayed to Trudy. Trudy was a God who could sit next to her. She could talk to Trudy, and Trudy made her feel at home. And she also believed that Trudy was a word that she could use for God. Another woman in one of the congregations I served told me that she did not believe in God. Well, she told the whole congregation. But when she had a long drive to see her mother, she always spoke to someone. She did not begin this conversation with God or something like that, the word God. She just started talking. And by the time she arrived at her mother's house, she felt calmer. She said, I don't know if this is prayer or not, but it makes me feel better. This account surprised me because she was a member of the American Humanist Association, and I didn't think humanists really were that much into prayer. Maybe our definitions of prayer are limiting. One of the ways that I have prayed was by singing old hymns. I've mentioned that before, but it was really a prayer. I like the old ones that always end with the word Amen. In other churches I have served, I have taken an old Unitarian hymnal into the sanctuary a couple of times a week and sung a few old hymns. The older, the dustier, the better. It's a little quirk of my own. My singing voice is not very appealing to hear, but singing as a prayer is not about beauty, but about feeling. I learned to pray when I was a child, though I remember it did not help me much then. I put my head down, I closed my eyes, and I tried to listen to the world around me for a moment. Then I would break the silence by saying, Dear God. You don't have to say anything like that to pray. You can begin a prayer by saying, Spirit of life, or Holy Mother, O universe. The words that you begin your prayer with are not important unless that's important to you. If God or goddess or the universe is listening, they will know that your prayer is for them. After that beginning, I usually say how I'm feeling. I assume that if anyone is listening, then he or she will know all the facts. Then I ask for help. I say something like, guide me in the right direction. Give me courage, or give me strength to do what I must. At the end of the prayer, I usually say Amen. This doesn't mean that talking to God is over, or it just means usually that I don't have much more to say. Amen, the word Amen, just means so be it. But I don't really expect God to make everything for me. It's a good way to know that the prayer is over. Sometimes it helps me to end that way because I know when the prayer is over and where I can move to another place to do what I need to do. Sometimes I feel better just by saying what I am feeling out loud or even silently. Sometimes it makes me feel calm. Sometimes I don't feel any different at all. Prayer is like that, as are most of the ways we find faithful courage. One of the best known prayers is the Serenity Prayer. I think it is right for this day and speaks to the needs that most people have. It is a prayer of many in self-help groups like Alcoholics Anonymous. Let us be in an attitude of prayer or meditation. God, give us grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change the things that should be changed, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Today we have prayed and meditated and sung. These are ways that we might find courage. Remember them when you are about to do something that frightens you or you're afraid. Sing, pray, or meditate when something keeps you awake at night. These ways might help you find courage to relax and calm your mind. Whatever way that you find courage, know that it is the right one for you. Whatever courage you find, share it with others, because they may not need it as well. May the tools that we have considered today strengthen our spirits in the days to come. Amen. Our